Welcome to day one of South Africa lockdown. There's a series of videos I've been meaning to do, and I guess there's no better time than now to actually get around to doing them. And I'm particularly focusing on targets that or areas that I found hard when I was young, um, learning how to do certain things, to the point where you realize that um, it's a skill you need to master. So we will start with simple pawn endings that for me gave me a hard time. And the thing about pawn endings is that all endings end up being pawn endings. Um, the position we'll start with is the most basic, and we'll look at it from two sides. So from white and from black. So for instance, in this position with white to play, um, the one topic you need to really understand is the concept of opposition. And it's a scenario where your opponent has to step aside for you to get on. So in this position, for instance, if it's white to play, you can't make progress because black will keep blocking him. So in this position, having a move is actually a disadvantage. The thing about simple pawn endings is you have to understand key concepts. Number one, it's about promoting pawns always. And then you have to understand about key squares. A key square in chess positions, in pawn endings, is a position where if you control it, in this particular case, these three squares in front of the king are called key squares. Whoever controls these has got an advantage. In this case, because it's white to play, the fact that if he moves here, black just moves with him and controls all the key squares means white cannot make progress. And then obviously opposition. Opposition is the scenario between kings where if it's your turn to move, you have to give way for the other king to make way. And then an element you need also to know about pawn endings is rook pawns. So rook pawns usually have got they're tricky. They just don't promote easily. So you need to know that. And then obviously last is the rule of the square. So here, if it's white to play, you won't make progress because black will keep blocking. So this part is simple, but it's very important to know, as you will see later on, that these endings have a tendency to kind of come back to each other. That's why you need to understand them progressively. In the same position, let's say if it's black to play, the same position with black to play would dramatically change because if black goes here, now white gains the position. And if black tries to block white simply gains again the position and black has to move away. And if it tries to come, then white is promoting and white wins. So this is the first position that you must know. And you must know it from both sides, not just from one point of view. You really need to understand it. And from there you can make progress. The second position um, is this one. And here we need black to play. Okay. Promoting a knight pawn is somewhat complicated. It's not as straightforward as you would promote, for instance, a pawn in the center because you don't have as much space as you have in the center. So there are some stalemating ideas. I'll give you a chance to pause the video here and choose a move for black. Okay, let's swap. If it's black to play, what would you play? Pause the video and find the move. Okay, I'm hoping you took the moment to try and figure it out. And the right move for black here is to gain the opposition, of course, with king g4. The point is that if you go g4, white will go king h2, and if you go g3 check, you go king g2, and if you go king g1. Now, white will start working on the black king. The point of this ending is to be in this square. Whenever the black king is on this square, white needs to be on that square. If black is on this square, white needs to be on this square. So what he does here is he goes king g8, oh sorry, king g1, and after king f3, you go king f1, and after g2, you go king g1, and you have nothing better than to cause a stalemate position. So in this position, black has to play king g4, and if king h2, black uses what we call flanking, king f3, gaining space. And now, if white goes king h3, black goes check, and if you go to h4, you just match the pawn to promotion. So if white wants to preserve some chances, he has to go king h2, and here you go king h2. And again, you have to be very careful. g3 check here will allow king h1, and now you start seeing the problem. If you go king f1, it's stalemate. If you go g2 check, it goes here, and we are back to the previous position, which was this one, the same position, and you've got a stalemate position. So here you have to be very careful. You have to play king f2, and after king h1, pause the video here and see if you can find black's move. It's very important. I'm hoping you've paused the video and you managed to find the move king g3. Again, very easy to stalemate the position after g3. So you have to be very careful. King g3. The black king is in the ideal position here in front of the pawn. It really doesn't matter whose move it is in this position. If the black pawn is on the 4th rank, or if it was white, if it was on the 5th rank, such positions are always won for the guy who's trying to promote. The only exception is when you have the rook pawn. You will see later on that. After king g1, okay, pause the video here for a moment and see if you can find black's move again. Okay, you have to play king h3. The point is that if you go king h1 here, now the simple match will win. King g1 here, and here black wins by displaying king h7, king h2, and he promotes the pawn. Okay, very good position. So again, very important position to remember is the knight's pawn. Okay, next position. And this one, the king is on d4, pawn, oh, sorry. Okay, king on d4. The white pawn on d2. And black king on d6. Okay, this position is white to play. If you want to test yourself here, pause the video for a moment and choose a move for white. Okay, I'm assuming you did. So here again, it's white to play. If he had to move his king, he can't make progress. He'll always be blocked. So he's got a tempo in reserve, which really helps him here. And after king e6, sorry, not that move, you can go king c5, and now he's flanking the black king. And after king d7, he goes king d5. If you're wondering about king e5, this is just simply losing. After d4 check, king e6, king c6, gaining position again. And after king e7, d5. If you try to go here, gain a position like that. So e5 is not an option. King d7, king d5, and after king c7, king e6, again flanking the black king. And after king d8, d4. I want to show you something here. When you play king e6 here, if you make a mistake of playing d4, black is suddenly drawing by gaining a position on you, and you can't make progress. You don't have a reserve move with the pawn, so you have to be very careful with pawn endings. And after king d8, d4, king e8, pawn push d5. So if he goes king d8, gain position, and we're back to that position we looked at. It would be a mistake here to play d6 because now against the position on you, you're going to draw, as we saw in an earlier example. So it's important to gain a position here with king d6, and after king e8, go king c7. You're controlling the key squares. After king e7, you're promoting, and you're winning here. Okay, next position. And king on f1, black king on here, and we come to the rook pawns which I mentioned earlier. Okay, it doesn't really matter who's to play here. Let's start with white to play. In this position, white achieves a draw. Usually, if he can get his king in front of the pawn, that's usually the drawing scenario here. If black's king is in front of the pawn, what white can do is he can block that king and make sure that king never comes out. So it's white to play king f2, and the king will never come out of this particular prison he's made for himself. And let's say black's turn to move, and black goes king d3. What white will do is simply slide in, hide in front of the pawn, and after checking, you get a stalemate position. It's quite irritating actually. Okay, so this is this position. Then comes a study. This study, if I'm not mistaken, was done by Yuri Verbach eons ago. And it really just demonstrates a simple concept, which we call the rule of the square. No, not necessarily the rule of square. It's about controlling key squares. Part of that applies, but there's a lot of king maneuvers involved in this setup. Let's start with maybe black to play to demonstrate. So in this position, it's very critical that you control these two squares. If you see what we saw with the rook pawn, this f8 square and g8 square. The point being, if it's black to move, you rush to control the squares with king c5, and after king g4, king d6, king g5, king e7, king g6, king f8, and he's intending to play king to g8. Once he gets there, it's a draw, like you saw in the previous ending. So let's say white prevents this with king h7. Okay, the point being, if he goes h4, he just goes here, and after this, you cannot do anything let's go back. So instead of h4, he goes king h7. Here, black simply has to play king f7, h4, king f8, h5, king f7, h6, king f8, and if king h8, king g6 doesn't work because you just slide in. If king h8, king f7, and h7, and again you've got a stalemate position. So going back in this position, if it's white to play, we would see king g4. Again, it's a rush to control these two squares so that the black king cannot go past to h8. So king g4, king c5, king g5, king d6, king g6, king e7. And if he had played king e, then this move h4 would simply promote the pawn. King e7, king g7, again blocking the black king from coming around to the pawn. King e6, h4, and if he goes king f5, h5, if he goes king g5, h6, and white will promote this pawn. Very simple, and worth knowing this position. Next position, and this position starts introducing some advanced maneuvering by the king, which will make a big difference in your understanding of pawn endings. Okay, so this position is white to play. If you want to try it, pause the video for a moment, see if you can see white's first move. Always important, because if you mess up that, you might not even be able to win this position. Okay, good. I hope you have paused the position. White plays king a6 here. He wants to gain a position on this king. So if he goes king d7, then king b7, obviously gaining a position. Let's see if there's something else he could try here. If he goes here, white gains a position there. If he goes, let's say king c8, and then white will gain a position like this. The point being, when you come here, it just goes back, and we are back to the same position as in after king a6, here king b7. So king e7 and king c7 again, maintaining opposition, and after king e8, king d6, king d8. So if you remember the first endings we looked at, this position is clearly winning for white because he plays king e6, and after king e8 he pushes the pawn. The pawn is very in a good position here, and after this white is winning. Okay. Next position, slightly more complex, but you can see that these positions build on one on top of the other. They are, that's why it's important to study them one after the other. Okay, this position is white to play. Okay, definitely pause the position, the video here, and see if you can find white's first key move. In an attempt to save the position, because it can easily go wrong here. I'm hoping you have. Okay, so white goes king b4. There are other logical moves which do not lose, but I guess I want you to see this one to understand it properly. So king e3. The point is that white actually cannot protect this pawn. That's really the truth about this position. But you set up a position which you know, which is drawing. So after king c3, of course, it would be a mistake to play king c5 here, because after king e4, you have a scenario which is called in French trebuchet. It's a position you must know in pawn endings. It means that if you move, you lose. So here, moving away from the pawn would then lose, like that. So he goes king c3. This is the correct move. And after king e4, king c2, very important. So he's setting up in this position that when black takes, he gains the position, and whatever black does is just going to stay in front, and he would have the drawing position. And if black, let's say after here, tries to push the pawn with d4, um, after d2, d3, king d1, we get a familiar drawing position, which we looked at in a different scenario. And it's very important here when he plays king c2 that he doesn't make this mistake, because now it is black who's winning, because he gains opposition like this and the game is over. Because now white has to give space for the black king to move forward. So very important position to understand. And next position, white. So now this position we call rule of the square. It's very important also to get this one. As you can see, these are critical positions for your understanding of the endgame. A lot of people know this. The point is that you count the number of squares it takes for white to promote the pawn. One, from where the pawn is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you count the same number going to where your king is trying to get into, like a box. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically what you're doing is you're going, okay, it's 5 squares to go there, it's 5 squares to go there. And this creates a square. And this square is very important. If black can get into the square, then he manages to draw. If he can't get into the square, then he loses. So this is called the rule of the square. So the point is this: if black can play king f4, whatever you do with this pawn, black will be able to catch the pawn. But if it was a different scenario, like if it was white to move, it would dramatically change the result, because after this, black cannot get inside the square of this pawn, and the pawn will promote, and it will be game over. So this is a key square, key element of understanding pawn endings. And then our last example, it's a bit more fancy, so I would want you to take a bit more time to try and see if you can figure it out, because this is part of learning, applying yourself to the process. Okay, in this position, it's white to play. This is a good exercise. Don't just look at the solution. Try and see if you can figure it out. Okay, I'm hoping you did that. And if you did, you'll find that the key move here is d5. The point is that if you try to promote the pawn like that, black will be able to catch it. So what you do is you throw in an obstacle, blocking the king, and if pawn takes, you can't ignore, by the way. You can't just say, oh, I'm going to rush here. So you block him, and after take, then you rush to your pawn, and his path, you see, is obstructed, and there you go. Good. Now you are ready to actually start confronting endings, because now you've got a very good base understanding of what pawn endings are about, and they are really the foundation of your chess and game knowledge. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Bye.